Hong Kong's skyline and its harbour is a visual feast, rivaling Sydney for its spectacle. The harbour, known as Victoria Harbour, is incredibly busy. One of the busiest in the world, in fact, on account of its historical and continuing role as a gateway port to China. Hong Kong is made up of a peninsula connected to the Chinese mainland and a series of islands, over 100, scattered offshore. Along the peninsula at Kowloon and on the biggest offshore island just across the harbour, known as Hong Kong Island, skyscrapers have sprung up. Exploring this unique setting in 24 hours provides the perfect introduction for any trip to Hong Kong. Early morning and the harbour is already busy. There are 220,000 ship visits a year, making it the third biggest port in Asia, handling more containers than any port except Singapore and Shenzhen on the Chinese mainland. There's a market for everything in Hong Kong. In this bustling city, take time out and visit the flower market for a bit of colour and a sense of everyday life. But it's the spectacular foreshore that attracts the tourists by the thousands on Kowloon, marvelling at the backdrop of buildings on Hong Kong Island on the other side of the harbour. Hong Kong is a crowded, gritty place, not just the centre of trade and commerce, but with a creative tradition of arts and filmmaking, embodied by the territory's hero, Bruce Lee, whose bronze statue enjoys pride of place on the promenade. Catch a ferry across to Hong Kong Island on Star Ferries, which have been providing the service to this and other islands since 1888. The journey costs just 50 cents. On the mountainous Hong Kong Island, take the Peak Tram service up to the Peak, the highest point on the island. This cog railway has been running for nearly 150 years. Views from the Peak are sensational. Take an hour-long walk around the Peak, taking in the wonderful views away from the crowds, in a natural setting far removed from the cityscape below. A brutal reminder that this is a crowded territory of 5 million people awaits you if you join the queue for the railway back down the hill too late in the day.
Thank you for using the Peak Tram. This is the Garden Road terminus. Passengers, please alight on the left.
Once there, head to the ferry terminal, nestled amongst giant buildings, for the journey back across the harbour. Here, a reminder of Hong Kong's past, not just as a British colony. Rickshaws, once a favoured form of transport around the city, now for sale as a souvenir outside the terminal. As the sun fades, another journey across the harbour on Star Ferries. As evening takes over, a kaleidoscope of colour erupts along the shoreline. Hong Kong skyscrapers appear even more spectacular at night than during the day. Head to one of the city's sky-high restaurants, not only to eat, but to marvel at the view. Then head into the streets of Kowloon for a neon light show. Our destination is the Temple Street Night Market. I'm not sure there's anything to buy here that isn't disposable, but the area provides a glimpse of real Hong Kong beyond the glamour of its spectacular setting.